ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्यां मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Shvetaketu has returned. The return of Shvetaketu marks a new chapter in his life where he has come back proud. Anujanam means repetition of the Veda. It's a specific word. Vedic mantras, that is what is called Anujanam. Anujane manah yasya asti saha anujanamani. Meaning, manam means what? Pride. So there is a lot of pride. Most people chant for the sake of feeling devotional. But Shvetaketu chants, Om Jatavedhase Sunavamhasoma Bharati Yato Nidahati Vedah, to see who is looking and who is appreciating. This is what is Anujana Mani. Not for his own growth, not for his own happiness. He chants to show off. And then he was asked, did you ask for that knowledge? Yena vijnanena amatam matam bhavati. That which is not considered becomes considered. We haven't even thought of it, but it's actually now in the purview of thought. And then avijnatam Vijnatam bhavati iti. This is what avijnatam means. Unknown becomes what? As though known. Because it is what is called vastu. What is the meaning of the word vastu? Thing. Thing. In Sanskritam it is thing. Neuter noun. So if it is a thing, then what about all the other things? What is this? This is also a thing. What is this? This is also a thing. Everything is a thing. How many things are there? Here, the Atma is the only thing being worth called a thing. That means everything else what? Just add no in front of thing, okay? Yeah, just add no in. If Atma is the only thing that is worth being called a thing, all other things are what? That's the correct answer. No thing, nothing. So therefore, Vastu means the only thing worth knowing, because That is the source of everything. Everything leans on the Vastu, and as Shvetaketu is going to be told, emerges from the Vastu, and then we have to add here what? Our favorite expression. As though. Emerges, as though is sustained, as though goes back. And so, in the beginning, he is too proud. What does he say? My teachers didn't know. That's why I don't know. I was the cleverest. I had the best GPA and I was the best, east or west. They didn't teach me because they didn't know. Then finally he understands this is something to ask for. And then he says, is there such a knowledge? Marking the asking of this knowledge. So here we have a little bit of an aberration. Usually, what happens? The student approaches the teacher, but the father, out of concern for his son, approaches the son. This is something even common in the Mundaka Upanishad. Om Brahma Devana Prathamas Sambhabhuva Vishwasya Karta Bhuvanasya Gopta Sabrahma Vidyam Sarva Vidya Pratishtham Atharva Yajyeshtha Putraya Praha. Atharva, who was the Jyeshtha Putra. Jyeshtha means what? Eldest. To his eldest son, he gave. It doesn't say the eldest son came and said, Adhihi Bhagavo Brahma, please teach me Brahman. It doesn't say that. So here, the little bit of an aberration is that there is so sometimes out of concern for the child, the father makes sure that he knows by what? By asking him whether he knows and waiting for him to ask. So, creating the situation for him to ask. And another, what is that called? The apurvata in this is that there is in the tradition a sannyasa parampara and also a side by side grihastha parampara. And the two are like navagrahas. They don't look at each other. Okay. Like if you go to a temple, how are the navagrahas situated? Each one does not face the other. So the Grihastha Parampara people say, see Mundaka Upanishad, see Chandogya Upanishad 6th chapter, see Shvetaketu. Shvetaketu's father married, and then Shvetaketu also gets married later on, and so we have Grihastha Parampara. They are also not deprived from this knowledge, they are also there. And then another example of the Grihastha Parampara is Yagyavalkya Maitreyi dialogue where? In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So there also we have Grihastha Parampara, whereas the sannyasi says, that's okay. Yeah, something for all of y'all. Okay. But really, we are the best, east or west, because we have left everything. And what the Grihasthas say, we got everything without leaving anything. That's what they say. And the two will never agree. But this is another apurvata. Usually it says, Yajnena danena tapasa sannyasena vividishanti brahmana. Brahmanaha vividishanti veditum icchanti. So the Brahmanas, how do they go about after leaving everything? Why? Because they understand na karmana, and then what else? Na prajaya, but dhanena. Correct? Na, we have to bring that na in. Na dhanena, not by progeny, not by action, and not by wealth. But how? Tyagena eva eke means one or two, a few ones called eke, plural of eka. So a few ones, tyagena amritatvam anashire. They enjoyed this immortality through this knowledge. A few ones alone enjoyed. This is there. So this is the another what should I say, feather in the cap of the Grihastha Parampara. Then this chapter is called Sad Vidya. This is its uniqueness. The apurvata here is not Tattvamasi. Because what is Tattvamasi? Mahavakya. That is not unusual. Every Upanishad has Mahavakya. So you cannot say Mahavakya is the unusual thing about this Upanishad. Upanishad is for the sake of what? Mahavakya alone. So what is the uniqueness here is just this Sad Vidya. And so the teaching begins. You can repeat after me, very easy to repeat. Sadeva Somya Idamagre Asit Ekamevadvitiyam. Yeah. Sat eva he somya. This is a interesting way of referring to the student. Somya means, oh pleasing one. This is gives a boost to the student. Otherwise, if you say, oh nincompoop, come on, study. You didn't even ask for this knowledge. I had to tell you there was this knowledge. Idiot, study. Will the student feel like studying? Not at all. The student will be put off. So therefore, what? Somya. You please me. You are a pleasing one. Oh, delightful one. What was there? In the beginning, Sadeva Asit. There was just something called Sat. Now, Sat is not a foreign word for Sanskrit speakers. It is a word with a meaning. It's a word with a meaning. What is the meaning of Sat? SAT, SAT. No, Sat. Sat means existence. Bhu Sattayam. When you give the meaning for the word bhu, the verb to be, how is it translated? Sattayam, in the sense of existence. Bhu Sattayam. So in the beginning, all that was there was something called Sat, which means existence. What? How can there be existence in the beginning? What is the beginning? Beginning of what? Beginning before what? Agre means before. Before this. Idam. Idam means what? This. Agre means before. Before this, there was existence. You see why we need, decoding, why we need Adi Shankara Bhashya, why we need teaching. This is why. Otherwise, the head will be full of gobbledygook. Nothing we will understand. And so, therefore, idam agre, before this, I'm just translating. Before this, sadeva asit, only Sat was. Very interesting. So now we understand something. The word, we have to see what are the words situated and how they are used. The word Tat always refers to Bhagavan, Jagat Karanam Brahma, wherever it occurs. And the word Idam refers to Jagat, the world. Idam Jagat. Ishavasyam Idam Sarvam, not Tat. Tat Sarvam, Ishavasyam has no meaning. Idam Sarvam. Idam means Drishtam, Adrishtam, Shrutam, Ashrutam. Ashrutam means waiting to be heard, not yet heard. Seen, not yet seen. Inferred. Everything that I know with the 5 pramanas, all this is what is this called? Idam. And Idam is a code language for what? Jagat. So now we are closer to deciphering this. Sadeva idam, idam sadeva asit agre. Before this idam, what is idam? Jagat. Abba, thank God. Yeah. Clap, clap, clap. Very happy. So, idam jagat, now we can qualify the idam. Idam jagat agre. Agre means before. Before what? Before the Jagat became Jagat, came to be known by the word Jagat, before that, Asit, it was there. What? Before the Jagat came into being, it was there? You are sounding like, those riddles. So many prahelikas are there, so many riddles are there, and this is also one more riddle. How can it be there before it was there? In the form of Sat. It was Sat alone. Sat alone it was. You see, now it's so easy. This Jagat, before it came into being, Agre means Srittehe Prak, before. Prak, before. Srishtehe, before the Srishti. Srishtehe Prak, before the Srishti, the universe came into being. This Idam Jagat, which I know very well as Idam, right here, starting with my own body, Idam Shariram. This Kshetra called the Jagat, this was already there. Only it has undergone a name change and a form change. What is the name change? What shall we call the Jagat now? Sat. The Jagat has got a different name. What is its name now? Sat. Sat. Sat eva asit. It was only Sat. And form change also is there. What is this Sat? Avyakritam, unmanifest. Unmanifest alone, this was, and this was nothing but existence. Still, it doesn't make sense. Existence cannot hang around, and I can say, I am part of this existence. I cannot say that. That which exists is an entity, correct? So if I say so and so exists, that means it's an entity. And so the Jagat was one with this entity. And what is the name of this entity? Ishvara. Ishvara's name is Sat. Sat is the name of Ishvara, Sadishvara. Sat is the name of Bhagavan, Paramatma, because that is the only thing that is existent. Nothing else is there. No names are there. No forms are there. As a potential, the names and forms are there. The names and forms are one with this Sat alone. And this Sat, because of this Sat, the Sat has given its own Satta to all the manifestations. It has lent its existence to everything known and unknown, everything variegated and unvariegated, everything latent as a potential and manifest. And so this Idam Jagat has come from what? Sat. Sustained by what? Sat. Goes back to what? Sat. So this Sad Vidya, what is this Sat? We comprises the major portion of this Upanishad. What is this Sat and why should I know this Sat? And more importantly, how on earth can I understand this Sat? So this Sat is seen and understood properly only by understanding what is Asat. Sat, existence, or Sadakhyam, Brahma, existent Brahman, from which everything has come, by which everything is sustained, unto which everything goes back, is understood relationally from the standpoint of the things which have come, from the standpoint of the things that are being sustained, from the standpoint of the things that are going to resolve back into this Sat. Because Sat, does it have a name? Yes, we have given it a name, but really that name is just like a signpost. It's an indicator. Lakshyartha, the Vachyartha, the direct meaning of Sat, does not at all, we don't understand what it is. It is Lakshyartha, it's an indicated meaning. Like, for example, if we say the Dining hall is that way. We put a sign saying dining hall and we put an arrow on the sign. And you're hungry. What do? Go follow the sign, correct? You don't sit under the sign and hope to be served the food there. That will not happen. Or if you're really hungry, you can eat the sign. That also is not going to fill up the hunger. So, therefore, what is there to do? You have to follow that. Here, Sat also has that kind of a indirect meaning, implied meaning, because that which is being revealed as the truth of yourself is not subject to being described directly by words, because words carry with them limitations. Atma, Atmano, Atmanah. How many Atmas are there? One. Yet in the Sanskrit language, one Atma, Atma, and then dual. Two Atmas, Atmano, and then many Atmas, Atmanah. Why? Because our own ignorance is overlaid in the language also. Why only Atma? Brahman is also plural and dual. Brahma, Brahmani, Brahmani. How many Brahmans are there? The last time we checked? One. How many Atmas are there? One. So therefore, the language just falls off. So you have to craft, you can't craft a new language and say Brahman is gobbledygook. What did you understand? Nothing. Swamiji also had a made up word for this. He would say Brahman is gagabugang. What did you understand? Nothing. And so therefore, it has to be a known word, something that you and I share the meaning of. And then, while presenting the word to you, what we should do is just rub off the limitations associated with the word, dust off the limitations, and hand the word to the student. This is what the Upanishad does. Exactly does. Because if the word Sat means in the sense of existing, in other words, existence, then what happens? Then we are stuck with the finitude of that word. Existence means what? Until you die. That is what is our understanding of existence. Right now, it is, but then after a while, it is not. And so that kind of existence, Brahman is not. So the word existence undergoes a little scrubbing. This is the handling of the pramana. Undergoes a little scrubbing to shake off the dusts of limitations that have settled on it centuries due to centuries of language usage, and then present the concept of existence without time. Because the only existence we know is a time bound existence. We don't know timeless existence. We don't even know what is the spelling of eternally and eternity. And if you're a teenager, and if the parents are a little late to come to pick you up from somewhere, you will say, I was waiting for you eternally. Means what? I was waiting for 10 minutes. Okay? That is eternity. And so, this is something which is very beautiful. So we can't convey eternity. That is not in the scope of understanding. It's beyond the scope of human imagination, because everything that we know comes along with time, along with space. Space is limited, time is limited. In fact, when space was created, time also came along with it. Everything is limited. And I only operate within these limitations. I have no way of knowing Nitya. I only know the finite. And therefore, to convey infinity, a very beautiful prakriya is is given. Prakriya means a pedagogical tool, a methodology to understand infinity and be very close to this teaching is given, and we will be seeing that shortly. But first, we just have to have a couple more sentences on how this the finitude is dusted off. The finitude is dusted off how? By removing the limitations, the temporal and spatial limitations associated with the word existence. Existence of what? And existence where? These two things come. These two things are part of everybody's everyday thinking. Now, the when and the where and the what have to be taken away. In Sanskrit, it's easy because we have active voice, we have passive voice, and we have what is called abstract voice, bhave prayoga. So here we use the abstract voice in the sense of satta, just sheer existence. In fact, the only existence we know is an adjective that qualifies things in time and space. Now make this do a Shirshasana. Make this stand on its head, and then what do you have? You have time and space are as though qualifiers of this existence, which is free of time and space. How? How? Sadeva Somya idamagre asit. Sat alone was. How many sats were there? Ekam. Ekam means you can have half sat, 1/4 sat, because ekam means you can be infinitely fragmented. No. Ekam eva advitiyam, non-dually one. And then the example to understand this existence is a famous prakriya called Karya Karana Prakriya. KK Prakriya. Okay? We have many prakriyas like this. AT Prakriya. What is AT Prakriya? Avastha Traya Prakriya, where the sleeping, dreaming, and waking states are analyzed. We have avasthatraya prakriya. We have karya karana prakriya. This is the master key prakriya, the karya karana prakriya. It is the best prakriya in the whole world because even though we have many prakriyas, methods of seeing the, what is that, adhyaropa apavada prakriya, karya karana prakriya, avasthatraya prakriya, of all these, this Karya Karana Prakriya, cause-effect methodology is complete. Why? Because it includes Tvam Pada Vichara, an inquiry into the word I. What is this I? Is the I as good as this body, mind, sense complex? Is the I as finite as what I see, what I think? Or is it something else? So this is Tvam Pada Vichara. If and is the I subject to sorrow? Yeah, because I'm sad. Are you happy being sad? No. That means it's not your nature. Because if sorrow was our nature, then what would we do? We would be happy being sad. We would congratulate each other because 3 sad things have happened in your life this week. How wonderful! And if something happy happens, we would say, what did you do to deserve this? We would say. But that's not how it is. Happiness is what I want, what I seek. Sorrow is an aberration. Sorrow is what I want to keep at bay. And so, therefore, this Sat that is under discussion, this Prakritam Sat, what is this Sat? This Sat is free of time. And that which is free of time is definitely happy. That's why we love sleep. Why? Because it is free of time. Time doesn't exist in sleep. When the stupid alarm rings, then you say, oh my God, already 5 o'clock. Oh my God, already 4 o'clock. What happened? Where did time go? Time wasn't there. Everything resolved in sleep. For you, the time wasn't there. For the sleeper, the Jagat wasn't there. And so, this Karya Karana Prakriya includes the discussion of I. What is the truth of this I? Atma. And then it also includes what is called not I, Anatma. Because in the beginning, baby Vedanta discussion happens how? It happens by making a separation. I am Vilakshanaha, separate from what? Dehat, from the body, Vilakshanaha. Manasaha api, Vilakshanaha, from the mind, separate. From the body, separate. And from where else separate? Indriyani, from the Indriyas, separate. Indriyebhyaha api vilakshanaha. I am separate from the body, mind, sense complex. I am separate from the doer, karta. I am not the bhokta. Neither am I the doer, nor am I the experiencer. What am I? I am that which is, when I remove all these statuses, the statuses of waker, dreamer, sleeper, the status of doer and experiencer, the status of the one who has a body, the one who has a mind, when I remove it, remove means don't have an out of body experience right now, okay? Yeah, we are not equipped for that. So, cognitively discount the body mind sense complex. There is something asti kaschit swayam nityam. There is something there which is by itself, which is eternal. Aham pratyaya lambanaha, which is only dependent on itself. Avasthatraya sakshi san panchakosha vilakshanaha, different from the panchakoshas, different from all the mistakes, different from the body, different from the mind. And how do I recognize it? Aham iti sakshat, directly. Sakshat aparokshat brahma, Mahavakya in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. It is aparoksha, it is immediate. Are you here? Yes? Those who had tea said yes quickly. Okay. This is my anumana. So yes, I'm here. What kind of proof do you need for your own existence? It's a proofless existence, or rather, it's a self proven existence. It doesn't require any outside proof. This proofless, self proven existence alone is I. Everything else is what? A plus, plus, plus. A value added as though plus. It's just a gift wrap, I tell you. The gift is I, aham, and then the wrap is the body, and the, what is that? The ribbon. Ribbon is the mind, the bow is the senses. It's just a presentation. You give it, happy birthday, dear Lord Rama, here is your gift. What will baby Rama do? Baby Rama will remove everything, take the gift. That's exactly what it is. The gift is this I, which refuses to shut up, which I know is there, which is the truth of myself, and which the Upanishad unfolds, whose nature to be one with Sat. Here is where the beauty of this cause-effect prakriya. This is a very important, in fact, the most important prakriya, because this I, that I thought to be an assemblage of the body, mind, sense complex, is in fact what? Sat. So in the beginning, anatma, atma. Atma is sat, anatma is asat or mithya, dependent on sat. This is baby language. In the beginning, it is most essential. After a while, we can dispense with it because we can't be stuck with I and not I. Then it is not really non-duality. Not I has to resolve. Where will it resolve? You can't send it somewhere. Please go somewhere, because idam agre, what was there? Sat alone was there. The not I is also what? Sat. Not I is also ultimately I. Not I is also Sat. The truth of this I is also Sat. Therefore, Ekameva Advitiyam, in an unmanifest form, this universe, Idam Jagat, Agre Sadeva Asit. Then what is everything that has come here? How to understand this? Everything that has come here. All this, Uddalaka says, Vacharambhanam, you can repeat, Vacharambhanam, Vikaro, Namadheyam, Vak Arambhanam, Vak Alambanam. Vak means what? Walk. No, speech. Okay. Vak means speech. Dependent on speech. So therefore, every single thing in the universe is what? A word which has a shared meaning. That's all it is. The word pot. All our, what should I say, trick supplies, show and tell, or in the other classroom, we'll bring one pot we will bring for the next class to show and tell. Right now, you can imagine it. Here it is. Okay? So, the word pot is a name, nama. And then when you say the word pot, then you imagine a certain shape, because everything that has a certain shape is called pot. So you recognize pot wherever it is, because there is a shared meaning, a shared understanding of a shape, a form with a particular name. You recognize pot, whether it's a plastic pot, you recognize pot. Whether it's a metal pot, gold pot, silver pot, or even our clay pot, you recognize pot. Why? For that matter, you recognize pot in somebody's belly. And what do you say? This person has pot belly. Look at that. Yeah. So that means the word pot shines in my head. How does it shine? As a name, a word which has a meaning. And in fact, here is the shocker right in the beginning of the Upanishad, that the whole, whatever you call the Jagat, and take it so seriously, oh, I have this, I have to do this, and this one will become displeased if I stay for this retreat. Somebody will be upset, somebody will be angry, I have to go back home, and oh, when will this end? And oh, I have to take this seriously, this is terrible, that is terrible, this is bad, oh, something terrible happened. All this that's going on in my head is just a series of words with their corresponding meanings. In other words, we take ourselves far too seriously. This is what Chandogya says. It's just a series of words and meanings. Table, word and meaning. Wood, word and meaning. Mic, word and meaning. Chair, word and meaning. Carpet, word and meaning. Window, word and meaning. Door, word and meaning. Curtain, word and meaning. Ashram, word and meaning. Another ashram to the left of this, word and meaning. Another ashram to the right of this. What is that? Word and meaning. Word and meaning, word and meaning, word and meaning. And this whole word salad is what is called Jagat. This is what Sat has for dinner. Swaha. Finished. This is just a whole series of word and meaning. Nama dheyam swarthe dheya pratyaya. Dheya is a pratyaya, which means name alone, form alone. Swarthe in its own sense. There is no other sense. Vacharambhanam vikaro namadheyam. That how can you make such a drastic statement and just completely dissolve all my and discount all my experiences? How can you do that? How? Oh, thank you very much. How nice. Thank you so much. Look, he went all the way to get this. So sweet. So here we have, yeah, here is the pot. So we'll come back to that. Trusty fellow, stay here, okay? Yeah. You are special, you are a teaching pot. So, and so word and meaning. And then we have an entire thing that we call the Jagat, starting with our own body, mind, sense complex, reduced to what? A word which has a meaning. No, but there are many things wrong with this body. Word and meaning. I have some itis. Itis means some kind of anything that ends in itis means some kind of an inflammation. Word and meaning. This itis, that itis, whatever itis. Nobody has Vedantitis because it's good for you. Okay? Yeah. So all word and meaning, word and meaning, word and meaning, word and meaning, a word whose meaning we understand. A shared word, series of shared words and shared meanings. How to understand? And he says further, Yatha, Ekena, Yatha. एकेन मृत्पिण्डेन सर्वं मृण्मयं विज्ञातम् इव भवति. यथा, in which manner? Ekena mritpindena, through just one lump of clay. Mritpinda. Pinda means like a little. You just take something and go like this, So this is a lump of clay. You just make a little vada with a clay. This is called lump, a clump of clay or a lump of clay. So you analyze that lump. You put it through your fingers. See that it is sticky. See that when you put a little water, it becomes a little more malleable, little less sticky. And then just for fun, you can shape a little pot. And then what? Because you're not a potter, it collapses. And it becomes a purse instead, okay? A purse that cannot be opened. That's what happens. So when you don't know how to do things, and so then you say, oh, okay, now it looks like a purse. And then you roll it and then make something else and you just have fun with it. And then what happens? You see something which is very, very, very interesting right in front of your eyes. You know the clay, you smell it, it smells of the earth. You weigh it, you know how much it weighs. You see the color, you appreciate the, what is it called? Terracotta. Terra means earth, it is from the earth. Terracotta, color, and the smell and everything. You have a nice experience with the clay. You have understood the clay thoroughly. Ekena mritpindena, by doing research on one ball or a lump of clay, sarvam mrinmayam mridvikaram. Everything that is made of clay, that is a modification of clay, that is a vikara of clay, is understood. So what do I need to do a PhD on? Just the lump of clay. If I do PhD on one lump of clay, you can see clay in any form. Clay in the form of pot, clay in the form of chota pot, which is having a little bit of a complex because he saw this fellow. More about that later. And then clay in the form of what? Lid. Yes. This is also what? Clay. This is also what? Clay. This is also what? Clay. 3 items. How many clays? 1. Thank God I don't have to see anybody after class. Nobody said more than 1. Only 1. 1 clay. So the counting, see, this is Vedantic mathematics, okay? Yeah, Vedic mathematics is also there, that's different. This is Vedantic mathematics. And it's also Vedantic magic, where 1 plus 1 plus 1 is equal to what? 1. Only 1, non-dually 1. How is that possible? Because we are talking about that which is beyond plus, beyond minus, which is in the form of that which cannot really be counted. The Jagat cannot really be counted. So many manifestations, so little time. And so the whole the earthenware world is as well as known if one lump of clay is known. So you see, we don't have to disappear this pot. We don't have to say, oh, look over there, and then hide this pot and say, see, it is gone. I don't have to do that. I can hold the pot in my hand and say, what do you see now? See, nobody sees pot. See, the pot has virtually what? Disappeared. Vedantic magic. This is Maya Shakti. This is what is Vedantic magic. This is the goddess here. This is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So the variegated names and forms are all just that. Namadheyam. Vak Aranbhanam. So in the morning it was said. What was said? What did Swamiji say? The whole Jagat resides on your tongue, on the tip of your tongue. That is what it is. So next time when you are asked the question, where is the world? Say, right here. Of course, people will think you're a little off, but at least you're not disappointing them, because after going to the ashram, you should be a little off. Yeah. Otherwise, what's the fun? You should be a little off. So you point to the tongue. That's why when when the child is 6 months old, we do a samskara, and then the Om is written on the tongue with honey, so that it jihva me madhumattama, because whatever may my tongue be a honeyed tongue. Tongue has power. It is the whole Jagat is dancing on it. The whole Jagat is dances on my tongue. Think about what happens to your self-esteem when you say that. It's not just to say that. It is Shruti Vakya. It is a Pramana. There is no other way of knowing this. This is Apurvata. This is Anadhigatam. No other way of knowing that the whole Jagat dances on my tongue. This can be a poem. In fact, Lakshmi will write one. Yeah. The whole Jagat dances on my tongue. That's what it is. Because whatever you say, you're giving it existence. Pot number 1, it is now existent. Up till now, what did we see? Only clay. Now I say pot number 1. Yes, present. Hazir hu, present. Pot number 2. Yes, pot number 3, lid number 3. Here it is. And so, from the standpoint of effect, the whole Jagat is an effect. And what is the cause? Sat is the cause. Sat is the cause. Shvetaketu's jaw has dropped to the floor. How? The whole Jagat dancing on my tongue? How is this possible? What is this going on? How? Bhuya eva bhagavan vijñāpayatu. Please teach me again. I can't believe this. How is this possible? Another example is given by Uddalaka. And this is an even more assimilable example, as we will see, because the pot, which is the effect, and we have to now use our favorite expression. What is that? As though. The pot is an as though effect of clay. Clay is Satyam, pot is an as though effect. And so this as though effect had to undergo some change, because it had to go in the kiln and be burnt in the oven, cooked at a very high degree Fahrenheit, in order to be brittle and in order to hold water and to serve a certain purpose. Whereas the next example that Uddalaka gives is our favorite example, gold and ornament. Golden chain, golden ornament. Ornaments, many. How many golds? 1 gold. And the goldsmith in India knows this. He's a gold jnani. You say, oh, this is, you are all senti about it. Senti means sentimental. You just say, oh, this is great grandma's chain and it's an old design. I want a new design. What can you do? If you are so sentimental, why are you taking it there? No, but I can't wear it. It is sitting in the locker. So I want to wear it. I want to have grandma on my neck, but in a in a nice form to remember her. I want a new design. This had certain gemstone, it had a certain style. And then what does the goldsmith do? Mercilessly plucks out the stone. And she's saying, hey, what are you doing? It's an antique. Okay, you want it or you want to take it back? No, no, no. Do it. Pluck, 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 pluck. And then puts it on the goldsmith is a gold jnani, sees only gold. You are seeing the ornament. You have your sentiment in the ornament. And the goldsmith is seeing what? Only gold. He doesn't see the design. He doesn't see the stones. He doesn't see the sentimental value. And he will only weigh the gold. And he will subtract the copper and silver that needs to be mixed in order to make that chain and to make that necklace. And then he will give you only the value of the gold, not the ornament. You sold the ornament. What did he buy? Gold. This is what it is. And Pujya Swamiji used to illustrate this by telling his own experience of being invited to inaugurate a gold shop, jeweler's shop. Jeweler was the student. Jeweler said, please Swamiji, come, come, come. Swamiji said, I've never inaugurated a gold shop. I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? No, no, just come, cut a ribbon and we will do an arati. Goddess Lakshmi, just come. Okay. Ribbon was cut, arati was done, and then shop was inaugurated. And then the jeweler fell at Swamiji's feet and said, please, since you have come, take one thing. Please take one thing, just as a memento, a keepsake. Are you sure? You're talking to a Vedantin, you know. Are you sure you want me to take one thing? Yes, Swamiji, please. The jeweler was not prepared for a Vedanta lesson, but here it came. What did Swamiji say? Okay, I'll take the gold. You keep your ornaments. What do I take? Gold. That would have been the shortest inauguration in history. The shop closed down after 2 minutes after inauguration. This is what it is. This is exactly what Uddalaka teaches. So many ornaments, one gold. And so the whole Karya Prapancha, Prapancha means world, the world of effect has no standing, no leg to stand on. It has to borrow its existence from Sat. And the nature of the Sat is what? Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam. The nature of this Sat is that it exists and then it is existence beyond what? Limitations of space and time. And then what kind of an existence is it? Is it Jada or is it Chaitana? Chaitana. What is Chaitana other than a cool sounding word with a meaning? Sentient, conscious. So when you're talking of a conscious Sat, you're not talking of a thing, you're talking of a being. Conscious. Chaitana, Jnanam also means in whom all knowledge rests. Where can knowledge rest? Can knowledge rest in a clay pot? No. Can knowledge rest in a block of wood? No. Knowledge always rests in a conscious being. And that conscious being is infinitely knowledgeable, infinite knowledge, and infinite timeless, spaceless existence. And what are we describing? Ishvara. When for satah, yada satah karanatvam praptam eva, when this sat gains the status of causality, then you can't call it sat anymore. What is it? Bhagavan, Ishvara, Paramatma, so many names. Purushottama, all this. Because we are talking of an all-knowing, timeless existent entity, which is the sole source of everything that is variegated, everything that is known, everything that is unknown, everything that is going to come, everything that has come and gone, like what? Dinosaurs. Everything that was there, now it is not there, from that same source. Something will come later on, like cloned people. Cloned animals, yes, are existent. And there are some laws against cloning people for reasons. It will be very inconvenient to have 10 people look alike for even the sake of transactions. And then think of their karma. What about all the 9 people who are cloned? What is their karma? Why are they clones? In the last life, they were copycats. This life, they are clones. That's why nothing surprises us and nothing is against the Hindu dharma. So if we say cloning, we don't. So all the other religions come out. Oh, cloning! They are cloning this sheep called Dolly. What is this? This is wrong and it's terrible. This is against God. We are cool. We chillax. When other people have a furor, we are chill. Why? Because we know that whatever is this part of this Sat, whatever is going to happen, cannot happen if it is not outside of this Sat. If it is happening, it is part of this Sat. And we say it is allowed by Ishvara. No problem. There must be a purpose. And then we see that this Sat has this Satyam Jnanam Anantam, which is what? The Swarupa Lakshana of the Atma, of myself, of Brahman. What is Swarupa Lakshana? The intrinsic, inherent definition of I when the body, mind, sense complex is discounted. When my depression, when my fear, when my anxiety, when all the emotions are bundled up and kept aside analytically, what do I get? What is it that I cannot be without? I cannot be without existence. I cannot be without sentience. Can I say, hello, I am insentient? Can I say that with a straight face? Absolutely not. Because when I talk, I am announcing my sentiency. And also, limitless. This we have trouble with, because whatever we know is finite and limited. But this limitlessness is a qualifier for the Sat and for the Chit. Limitlessly Sat, limitlessly existence, limitlessly sentient. The sentience without limits I am, sentience without existence I am. This is the I, which is the inherent definition of I, the inherent definition of Ishvara also. Therefore, it is called Lakshana. It is indirectly understood through the meaning of words such as Sat, etc. After it is explained, so it is called Lakshana, the definition of the word Sat, according to its intrinsic, inherent nature. And then what? What kind of a Sat are we talking about? The Sat that is now in the form of a cause. The causality has been attributed to Sat. That is what is called tatastha lakshana of that same Sat, Satyam Jnanam Anantam, that same Sat now Karanatvam Praptam. Karanatvam Praptam means it has gained a status of cause. It has causality has been, as it were, by the word causality and the meaning of the word causality superimposed, as it were, upon this Sat that is entirely free of causality. If you see a lump of clay, it is just a lump of clay. And then if you see a clay pot, then what do you say? Oh, this came from that lump of clay. Then you see the lump of clay and you say, now in relation to the pot, what are you? Cause. Clay by itself, a potless clay, very funny way to say it, a potless clay has no causality inherently, but the causality comes when you are talking of effect pot. When you are not talking of effect, there is no cause, no effect. Ultimately, we come to that, but we live in a variegated universe, and so we have to see it like this: Ekameva Advitiyam Sat, which has, like the gold, like the clay, variegated into all these names and forms, and none of which are separate from Sat. They come from Sat, sustained by Sat, and go back where? To that same Sat. And Sat is free of effect. The effect resolves into the cause. The effect is non-separate from the cause, but the cause is free of effect. How? We will find out tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadagya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.